Hey, Reclaim Roots fam, it's Teca. All right, so I'm back. I was sick last week. I had a cold and I've overcome it. No, I did not have the C word. I just had a common cold and I was able to nurse it better with some good Jamaican soup, some orange juice, and a whole lot of rest and some elderberry, and I'm back on my feet. But it did take me out last week, so I apologize. I haven't been as consistent as I want to be coming back in and doing videos for you guys, but I'm here and I want to have take an opportunity to first introduce myself again. For those of you who are new to Reclaim Roots and you haven't seen me before and you don't know what this channel is about, I want to make it clear that this channel that I've started is really about documenting, not only documenting my journey as a returnee slash Diasporan, this Diasporan slash returning, because I don't like the whole term of expats for Diasporans. I feel that if you are a descendant of Africa, you're not expatriating, you're repatriating. That's my whole philosophy. But as my journey with my family, I've documented some of that, but also I want this to be a platform for sharing and uplifting, sharing ideas and uplifting and inspiring those who wish to come back to Africa, who wish to come back from the diaspora to Ghana, if it is Ghana, or wherever else you may want to find yourself in the future. If you see me looking at two screens, that's because I'm recording on two separate screens, so please mind my eyes moving about the place. But I'm here to essentially inspire those who want to come back home, to find a way, to figure out a way. I share with you that, you know, back in 2019, my family and I decided that my husband is a Ghanaian, born Ghanaian, raised in Canada. I'm a Jamaican, born, raised in Canada. And we decided that, you know, Ghana is a place where we want to ultimately reside and have our family, and we will do what we need to do in order to make that happen. We came before the pandemic, so we came with eyes somewhat wide open, but really surprised by what took place when the pandemic did hit Ghana. And it was such an early part of our transition that we really had to pivot and shift and figure out, okay, well, what are we gonna do next, right? And yes, coming down, it wasn't as if we said, you know what, there's no chance of us having to go back if we have to, but we really had the intentions of making it work in Ghana with our businesses and with schooling and whatever. But as I shared with you, if it's new to you, then I'm going to encourage you to go back and look at the previous video. But if you've been following me and if you've been, you know, watching the videos, then you know that this particular year, or actually starting last year, we started to do more of a Bi-Continental split between our time. So we spend some of our time in Ghana and we spend some of our time in Canada. It's not an easy position to be in, but we never expected it to be easy, and we don't expect it to be easy because hard things, you know, pressure makes diamonds, right? And hard things will ultimately pay off in the end. So we are willing to make the sacrifice that is required in order for us to ultimately have what we want. And what we want is we want to see a prosperous, happy, you know, fulfilled family, as well as a diaspora family and an African family. We want our people to prosper, right? That is why we're here. That is what the mission is. We want our people to prosper. We want to be able to contribute in whatever way that we can. We don't come as, you know, people who know everything. We come as people who can give another perspective, who can add value, who can uplift, who can support, who can encourage. In my last talk, I mentioned, you know, that despite all of the challenges, despite all of the difficulties that Ghana experiences and is experiencing now, because if you notice, if you've been following, we're in a bit of a tight spot, right? Our leadership has taken us to a place where, you know, it's gonna take a lot of effort to move us back into the position that we were in 2019, and some doubt that we can ever get there. But we're at great risk with our financial position being so heavily indebted to our debtors, and we all know, you know, the debtor is always a slave to the lender. So until we come to terms with that, and until we figure out how as a diaspora, how as Africans, we can solve our own problems, we are going to be in a bit of a difficult situation. But I say this not to discourage, I say this to enlighten and to open up the mind to think about, okay, so then now what? What is the possibility? What are we facing? What can we do as a collective to ensure that more of us are able to contribute our resources, contribute our efforts, contribute our time, and to build Africa? Whether we do it presently, physically in Africa, or whether we do it outside of Africa and we go, we exchange places and put our energies, minds, resources together. What can we do as problem solvers to create a better opportunity for our people outside of the continent, for those on the continent, and for our future generations who are going to be depending on what we leave behind for their sustainability? Because this is a big deal right now. We are in a big deal moment. We have so many looming crises that we're facing. Crises, whatever, that we are facing. I'm talking about, possible famine and hunger coming to everybody, but especially to those of us on the continent, because we haven't yet figured out how to sustainably grow our food without the need of imports, right? We haven't been able to fully sustainably do that. We're making progress, but it's not fast enough. And while we're doing all of these things, all of these negative environmental factors that make us seem powerless are coming to a head. So how do we build up our agricultural prowess so that we can feed ourselves? How do we, bring together the financial resources from the diaspora and within Africa so that we can use the resources that we have here to build? How do we keep people here? Those who are brilliant. I have people in my network who are brilliant scholars, who are struggling to be seen, to be heard, to have their knowledge capitalized, and there has to be a brain drain. They have to leave in order for them to be able to make something of themselves, or to, get the recognition that they need to turn that intellectual capital into financial capital so that they can sustain themselves. And for those people, I always encourage, and I still encourage, go ahead, go away and do what you need to do to build your skill set, but don't forget to come back and rebuild. You give back what they give to you, but come back here and rebuild, because this is where we need you, right? So how can we maintain, minimize the brain drain, but also build the educational capacity? So let's look at the schooling system. What are we doing with the schooling system to influence positive changes so that we can build a competent and skillful and critical thinking workforce that is willing to take on the intellectual as well as the physical challenges that will come, right? Because innovation is going to render a lot of jobs obsolete eventually. Yes, we are we still have a long ways to go in Africa, but there's still a lot of things that are a lot of jobs that will be obsolete. In the diaspora, there are a lot of jobs that are going to become obsolete, and a lot of those jobs, we, people of color, people of African descent, are the ones who fulfill most of those positions. And there's data and statistics to show it, and I can pull those for you because I'm not just speaking out of my mouth. But a lot of those jobs are going to be replaced by, those low-skilled jobs are going to be replaced by, robotics and artificial intelligence. Are we prepared? And when they are, what are we going to do? Right? Are we aware that we've got to come back, that Africa is growing? It is a youthful population, that there is so much opportunity here that we can actually solve problems. Whereas in North America, in Europe, the problems are not solved. They're just bigger problems that only a select minority of people have access to solve. And ultimately, by solving it, they build their wealth. Because if you notice, in the past couple of years, it's that there's been a really small segment of the population that's become very, very wealthy, while the rest have become very, very poor. Anyways, so that I don't keep this video very long, I'm gonna try to keep my videos at about 15 minutes each, no more. I'm going back to the talk about the plan B. So you come to Ghana and things fall apart. Like, your money runs out, because it happens, right? No matter how much money you bring to Ghana, it's gonna run out. what do? Your job, you weren't able to secure the job. Your business really wasn't able to pick up, right? And you don't have any other resources besides maybe funds that are locked in and you can't access it. What do you do? Right? So my thing is, I want to break down this plan B into categories, right? So let's talk about, what do you do? Like if you get to that point, do you go back to where you came from, whether it be England or the Caribbean or Canada or the United States or wherever you came from? Do you just say, you know what, that's it, I'm gonna pack up my stuff and I'm just gonna go back and I'm never gonna look back to Africa again because it's impossible? Or do you go back to where you came from, put in a plan to rebuild your finances, put in a plan to rebuild your assets, put in a plan to, repatriate, and then you return at some later point when it is more feasible for you and when it makes the most sense? Or do you go back and forth? Do you spend time away from your family? Do you, if you're by yourself, I speak mostly to families, but if you are by yourself, do you go back and forth? Do you split your time between your countries? Does your country permit that? And if they do, what are the rules that you need to follow, right? Understanding what the playing field is will allow you to be strategic and to think smart. Some people will say, if you came to Ghana and you had to leave, you're a failure. I completely disagree with that. I believe that you never know what is going to happen when you make a big move, and you never know what risks are gonna come up. The mere fact that you have an opportunity to go somewhere else means that is a possibility and a chance. You don't look at it as, okay, I have failed, therefore I can't possibly, pursue this dream that I've had. You look at it as, okay, let's reset, and I don't even like that term, but let's revisit the plan, and let's see how we can adjust it with the intelligence that we have now. Let's see how we can adjust that. So those are the first three things that I would say are the options, and it may seem obvious up front, but to some people who are stuck, if you're currently in that situation where you're stuck and trying to figure out, what do? I came down here with all hopes that it was going to be amazing, that I was going to get here and I was going to get a really good job, which you discover, oh my goodness, the salaries are just not sustainable. Or I was going to start my business, but then you run into all this bureaucracy, all this red tape, all this corruption. And I'm not suggesting that this is what happens all the time, but I'm speaking from experience that these are some of the things that you face, right? Or you did not expect the capital outlay to be as intense as it was, or you underestimated the market and you didn't realize that Ghanaians had a completely different perspective, even though you did your research and whatever the case may be, or your partners just completely turned on you and you have now don't know what to do, right? These are the realities. So then what do you do? So I'll go through it again. You can either do, and there may be other options. And if you have other suggestions, please drop them in the comments. You either could go back to where you came from, right? And don't come back. Say, that's it for me. I'm not coming back here. Go back to where you came from, rebuild financially, emotionally, mentally, because you're gonna have to do some of that, and then return. Or you go back and forth. You find a split that works best for you and your family. Or you find a way to live in Ghana. Sorry, there's more. Find a way to live in Ghana, but with less expenditures. Maybe you live rural, right? If it's a possibility, you find out a way to live with less expenditures. Or you move to a whole entire new African country, because there's like 54 countries, right? It's not just Ghana. So what is going to be your plan B as it relates to going to and coming to Ghana and deciding that it's time for me to make a move, because Ghana's just not it right now. It's a vibe, but it's just not it. I'm struggling. I'm trying to figure out where my next, income is coming from, and I'm gonna go crazy if I don't figure this out. What is gonna be my next move? If you've done any of these things, I would love to hear from you in the comments. Okay, if you came to Ghana and you said, with no doubt you were coming to Ghana to stay or to build, but things just did not work out the way that you intended, and you had to make that shift and make an alternate move, share in the comments what you did, if you feel comfortable doing so, what it is that you did, and why you feel that this is a good alternative for some who are considering. Because I want to leave this with you. Africa needs us. Diasporans, Africans were born in Africa. Caribbean people who were born in Africa and taken away. Africa needs you. And whether you are in Africa full-time every day, or whether you are in Africa part-time, or whether you are sending your resources to Africa, Africa needs you. And Africans, Native Africans that I'm speaking, if you hear me speaking, you're thinking, who are you to say what we need, blah, blah, blah. I respect you. I respect your position. I'm speaking from a place where I've heard it from Native Africans as well, Native Ghanaians. We need the diaspora. The diaspora needs us. We all need each other because we are not going to survive out there. We are not going to survive out there. You saw what happened in Ukraine. You saw what happened in Morocco. You're seeing what's happening all over the place with people of color. We need each other today. Okay? And coming to Ghana is not a vanity project. It's not about coming to Ghana to go to the beach and to go to Ada and to go sip martinis and drink beer by the beach, and to pose and to floss. It's not about that. Yes, it's a nice perk, okay? If you can do it, go right ahead, live your best life. But it's also about sustainability, right? Coming to a place where there's an opportunity where you can have sustainability, where you can build up on your agriculture, where you can support indigenous communities, where you can help children who are in, underprivileged situations, where you can help mothers who are trying to raise their children, where you can help families, where you can give back. This is our opportunity right now. So if you come from the diaspora, if you are in the diaspora and you're in the middle class bracket, or you are upper income and you feel that you are struggling doing the capitalist juggle that is North America, I want you to pay attention and I want you to stick with me, okay? Stick with me. I'm gonna be consistent here, okay? It's been difficult for me as I've been, trying to do this whole transition and trying to figure out what I'm gonna do with this channel. But I know what this channel was intended to do, and I know that the point of it is to really give clarity, inspiration, and support to those of you who genuinely want to be here. If you don't want to come to Ghana, that's fine. If Africa is not your thing, that's okay. It's not for everybody. I will tell you, there are some people who, yes, they just should not come, because this is not for everybody. This is for people who have a consciousness of mind and of self, and have an awareness of the need for our people to thrive. It is not exclusionary, so if you are an ally, I invite you to support us. If you are not, then this is not the space for you. It's not a safe space for you, because you're not gonna like the things that I'm gonna say, the truth that I'm gonna speak. It will hurt you. And it's not my intention, but the truth does hurt. But if you are for the diaspora, and if you are an ally, and if you are ready to really make a change, and if you are sick and tired of the experiences that we're having outside of Ghana, outside of Africa, then come, stay here, plug in, subscribe, hit the subscribe button. I've got more for you. All right, my time is up today. I've really spent a lot of time, more than I wanted to, but I'm gonna try to do, I'm not gonna try to do this. I'm going to do this consistently. I'm going to put out a video about the plan B. So the next part about the plan B that I want to talk about is the economy. What do you do when the economy tanks? Where the prices of goods have skyrocketed, which we are facing right now, right? And if you're living off savings or fixed income, you'll have a hard time paying for goods and services. What are you going to do? What is your plan B? Maybe plan A was to find a job in Ghana. Maybe plan A was to start the business, but it didn't work out. So what's gonna be the plan B? Let's talk about that next time, all right? I always enjoy spending time connecting with you, and I pray that you are well. wherever you are, and I encourage you to stay focused, stay positive. Don't let the negative news distract you. Don't let it dissuade you. Don't let it convince you that Africa is trash, that we can't fix this. Coming together, we can make a change and a difference. Coming together, we can build back our dynasties. All right? With love, peace, and blessings. Talk to you next time. Bye.